Sports, a bridge that brings people together. And here in the Commonwealth, it's no different. From the gridiron to the hardwood and beyond, we all have a team we love to talk about. Now for the teams you care about, here's Heartland Sports Live with Trevor Rice.
And welcome into Heartland Sports Live. Trevor Rice with you on 106.1 ESPN Radio, 1400 AM, and we are live streaming this afternoon on ESPN Radio 1061.com. We have a busy show. We're going to be talking local high school baseball and softball here in a little bit with Mike Matheson, who will pop in the studio here with the News Enterprise sports team, so we'll catch up with him. But right now I have Joe Zerhusen on the line with me. Joe is, of course, the broadcast and affiliates manager and also the PA announcer there at Great American Ballpark. You'll hear his voice each and every time you head up to Cincinnati and watch a game. Joe, yesterday I thought we were going to make it 4 games in a row. Unfortunately, the sweep did not happen.
Oh, that was a situation. They had actually looked pretty good with another one of those games where they just come up short. I know with David Hernandez, he had looked real good in the win on Saturday, and David Bell went with him again yesterday, and just came up short. But yeah, 4 in a row would have been real nice. I know heading out there when you're looking at playing Oakland and San Francisco after leaving here, strange, little series against the Giants here at home the previous weekend, and where we split with them there. Then you head out on the West End, you're figuring, okay, these are 2 teams they should beat. Well, you got Fires throwing a no-hitter at them on Tuesday night. But then going into San Francisco, and the last game of the Oakland series, and then into San Francisco, like you said, they had won 3 in a row, had been looking real good, and then yesterday just a little bit of a hiccup. But it's going to be real interesting to see what happens. First time we get a chance to see the Cubs in a series beginning tomorrow, and then we have the Dodgers coming into town for a weekend series. So it's going to be a big week here.
Starting pitching, are my eyes deceiving me, Joe, or is the starting pitching much better so far to start out this year compared to where they were last year?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, you have Luis Castillo, my goodness gracious. What was it when he was in the game that he pitched the other day on Friday against San Francisco, 7-0. He went 6 innings, gave up only 2 hits with 11 strikeouts, and even yesterday, Maui looked real good. And Tyler was coming off of an outing where he had a little bit of trouble. And then you have Tanner Roark. I mean, those guys that we picked up in the off season, when you start looking at Tanner Roark, Sonny Gray, some good outings from both of those guys. Tanner pitched that game on Thursday in Oakland, the day game, and he went 6 innings and gave up only 3 hits. He's a guy that when you got him, he's just a workhorse. And every time he goes out there, he's going to give you some good, strong innings. Early in the season, early in the game, he would give up a little bit, then he would settle in and really perform well. But no, you're absolutely right. That starting pitching is really doing a tremendous job right now.
One of the main concerns, and I see it on social media from fans, where the starting pitching has been better. Some batters in the lineup so far in the early portion of this year have just gotten off to a slow start. There were concerns there, talking about the batting coach and how these players are approaching at the plate each time they go up. But it seems like over the last week or so that they're starting to make some big strides in making contact with the ball and getting more on plate.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting when you start looking at guys at this level when it comes to the hitting coaches. A lot of hitting coaches, let's face it, they go at it in different manners. With what these guys are doing right now, which you can look at early in the season, is that you have players that, the old line, you want to see what somebody's going to be, just look at the back of their baseball card. And over 162 games, they're going to pretty much be consistent with what they have been in the past. Well, obviously, with the guys who have been with us for a while, they're not really at that point right now. now when you look at Eugenio Suarez, Joey especially right now. So, you keep looking at the fact that, okay, even though these guys aren't performing at the level you would like to see them, Jose Peraza being another really good example. He has a 207 batting average right now, but you look at the end of last season, he started coming on real strong. So, I mean, he's going to be a hitter. He has it in him. Joey, it'll be real interesting to see when he starts becoming the Joey Votto that we're all used to seeing. Jesse Winker, for his part, averages, as you said, they're not quite up to where you're looking for it to be, which again sort of supports the thing about the starting pitching and how good that has been. What's this team going to be like when they start putting everything together? That's the thing that I'm actually looking forward to seeing, and I do think that we are going to see it. I think this is a team that they're just starting to get into a groove. They're just starting to feel pretty good about some things, whether it's just a slow start collectively or whether it does have to do with an approach as they go up to the plate. It's going to get better, and when the hitting and the pitching comes together, you just got to hope that the pitching continues to hold as the hitting starts coming up.
Joe Zerhusen, broadcast and affiliates manager, joining us on Heartland Sports Live. You can hear his voice each and every time you visit Great American Ballpark for the home games this year. Derek Dietrich has become a fan favorite. What are your thoughts on him? He seems to be pretty animated before games. I think back to the bee swarm that impacted Great American Ballpark last week and such. It seems like he's becoming a fan favorite, and he has been making contact with the ball as well.
Yeah, he has. It's you certainly. You miss having Scooter Jeanette in there, but with the situation with Scooter, it's given Dietrich a chance to get up there and play. And yeah, I mean he's definitely a character, as you pointed out. The coming out before the game last week here at home when the infestation of bees happened. He comes out in a beekeeper's outfit and starts spraying, and he's obviously one of those guys that keeps things loose. And a home run production right now, I think he's second to Suarez in home runs. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he has 10. They're right up there together as far as RBI. So yeah, Dietrich is. Cincinnati always seems to gravitate toward players like that have that kind of personality, and he's jumping right into that role. And like I said, you miss Scooter Jeanette, but having a chance to see him play a little bit more frequently has been it's been a joy.
Speaking of Scooter Jeanette, when do we expect him possibly to be back in this lineup? I've seen that he's kind of getting back into the swing of things. He's starting to warm up again, getting ready to make a return. When is a time frame for him to actually do that? I really don't know. I haven't heard anything specifically on it. I know that he's one of those guys. That when he is ready to go, he'll be coming up. But I honestly have no idea on the time frame at this point. Nick Senzel, speaking of guys who have stepped up and made a huge impact, since he has been implemented in the lineup, he has done some big things. Talk about his play already.
Well, I mean, he was one that everybody was looking forward to seeing him come up. The number 5, Major League Baseball's number 5 prospect, obviously our number 1, and he made an immediate impact. Had a couple of home runs earlier. It's fun to see him out there playing center field too. Keep in mind that's not his natural position, and he's been able to run down some balls and has looked very, very good doing it. He's a good ball player, and it's one of those things where just looking forward to seeing him develop and grow. Obviously, his first time around the league. I mean, you have those the people that look at it and say, okay, well, the pitchers really haven't had a chance to get used to them. He hasn't had a chance to get used to the pitchers right now, and I think he has somewhere around 10 hits so far since he's been up, 3 home runs, and over a week's period. I mean, heck, he's only been with the club since that San Francisco series last week. So a little over a week already has put 3 out. He's going to be an impact player. He's going to be a big part of this organization for years to come.
Joe Zerhusen joining us on Heartland Sports Live. We were talking about some of the struggles with Joey Votto. Obviously, you don't see him being down too long here in the early portion of the season. You would expect him to start to make a bigger impact as the spring and summer months get here. Just talk about his play and what we may expect here in the coming weeks, maybe the next month or two.
Well, I mean, obviously, he's gonna. I mean, Joey is Joey, and he consistently his on base percentage is phenomenal. He goes out there every day, and you keep waiting for the fact. You keep waiting for the time when the hits are going to start to drop. You notice that some of the balls that aren't dropping for him, they're very well hit. They're hard hit. I think you look at this situation where he came into the season, and I remember reading some articles in the preseason, and him talking about the fact that his approach is going to be a little bit different. He's going to try to go back to when he was hitting more for power as opposed to just the whole on base thing. So you got to wonder, where's that playing into it? Is it an adjustment? He's a very cerebral hitter. Nobody wants to play any better and is more intense than he is. So he's going to come back and be the Joey Votto that we've seen in the past as far as getting on base. In the meantime, you do see the fact that, and again, the makeup of this team is changing a little bit with some of the players that are here, but Joey Votto is still the leader. He might not be the vocal rah-rah kind of leader that some teams may have, but Joey Votto is still the player that the other players look up to, and he's still one that is going to have a tremendous impact on this team, even when he is in a position like he is right now and the hits aren't quite dropping for him.
Speaking of impacts, you mentioned his name a little bit ago, Eugenio Suarez. He's been hitting him out of the ballpark here recently. Seems like ever since he came into this Reds organization, he's just been one of those impact players. Is that how you've seen it so far here this year? Because it seems like he hasn't let up any.
He's an impact player right now. I mean, he is without a doubt one of the top players on this roster. But that's something that he's grown into. But there was, when we picked him up, I know that was a situation where we felt very fortunate to get him. And it was one of those things that I think that the team that let him go wasn't really happy about the fact that they had. The deal that was made for him was just tremendous, and since that time, he's been a big part of this organization. And I think that, like anything else, with the age and with the experience, we've had him since 2015 when he was with Detroit. I know they were really, really high on him, and I think what you see is the comfort with the game itself, the maturity and everything coming together, and he's definitely one of those ball players. He's a leader in this club, and he's going to be one to watch, and he's going to be a fun ball player to see.
Joe Zerhusen on with us. Final question for you, Joe. Bullpen concerns, because fans are kind of, I've seen some comments on social media. Rice Iglesias has dropped 5 games here in the early portion of this season. Is there any concerns there, or do you see this just working things out and will get better as time progresses here?
I don't know that the club has any, I don't know that they have any real concerns about it. Obviously, they see what's going on, and the thing with Iglesias, but then again, he came in the other day and looked very sharp. I think it's just one of those things that as players progress, and as the season gets better, I mean, where's he going to fit into it? I don't know. I think when you look at this bullpen, you see situations where you have some players that one night it'll be phenomenal, and then again, you have the next outing and it isn't quite as good. David Hernandez is a perfect example. Now, again, using him Friday night and coming back again on Saturday, that might have been a little part of it, but he was on a roll, and that was a situation I know David Bell says that he likes to put him in. So I think, again, you have a situation where everybody's kind of settling in. It's still early in the season for the most part, but this is where you really do start to see things that are going to evolve into what is going to happen the rest of the year. We're into mid-May and toward the end of May. So right now with Iglesias, I mean, he still has some pretty strong stuff sometimes when he goes out there. So hopefully he'll bring it around and be the Iglesias we had a chance to see last year and the year before.
He is Joe Zerhusen. There's one positive thing we can talk about right now. Is the Reds are looking much better at this point in the season than they were this time last year. Joe Zerhusen joining us here on Heartland Sports Live. Joe, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Sorry we couldn't meet up for our affiliate day last Monday, but I understand you're a busy man, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Well, I look forward to it, man, and I'm glad you guys had a chance to get up here with the pregame stuff. Once I get started making announcements, it's like kind of nonstop. But maybe next time we'll be able to spend a few minutes. But always good talking to you, man. Thank you for all you guys do for us.
Joe Zerhusen, broadcast and affiliates manager on Heartland Sports Live. Coming up, we're going to talk some local high school baseball and softball. I'll have Mike Matheson of the News Enterprise sports team joining me here in the studio to talk about that, and you just never know what else we may discuss as well. It's Heartland Sports Live. Go and catch the link on my Twitter account at Radio Trevor Rice. Go back and listen to every show. You can download them and listen to them on the go on the iTunes link on my Twitter page. Just follow me at Radio Trevor Rice. It is Heartland Sports Live on 106.1 ESPN Radio 1400 AM, and we are live streaming this afternoon on ESPN Radio 1061.com. Back with more after this. Welcome back to Heartland Sports Live. Happy Monday to you. Trevor Rice in, and joining me right now is Mike Matheson in the studio with the News Enterprise Sports team. A little bit of shakeup with you guys here recently. Chuck announcing that he would be leaving, and just talking to you before this interview, it sounds like you're pretty busy.
Just a little. There's, softball, baseball, track, tennis to deal with. So, rumor has it starting Monday. It's playoff time. So there's plenty to do. Region Tennis starts Thursday. The first region track meet was held Saturday at Greene County and with Fort Knox. So I'll be seeing everybody around somewhere, somehow, some way.
Let's talk about that transition, because now you're going to be doing a lot more, and you're getting to see a lot of baseball and softball at the same time. You get to talk about these teams. North Hardin baseball side 25-4 right now, leading the way there in the 5th region. The softball Central Hardin 26-7. Has there been any surprises to you between baseball and softball here in this season? I know we're a week or two away from this is the last week. Next week's the last week.
No, this is last week. District starts Monday.
District starts Monday,
yeah. So
has there been any surprises in the season for you?
I think just surprises in just how things have gone. The fact that North has hit, I know they have a transfer in Parker Estes. He hit 2 bombs on Saturday. That gives him, I think, 9 for the year. So I think that way, the fact that North is 24-5, not that surprises, but they've had their best start in 15 years. You don't count on those things, right? You just don't. You have a good team, and you kind of see how it falls. You see how it works through, and Central's always going to be good, and they're good again, and they've got a really good pitching staff. And I had the stats in Sunday's paper, and their ERA is disgustingly low, and that's a really, really, really good baseball team as they get ready for the districts. And kind of a strange thing is it's Central E-Town in the semifinals of baseball. I don't think that's happened very much. E-Town's having a tough year. But you have Central E-Town, winner will play the North, whoever they play winner, and goes to the region. Central, a couple kids told me they have some unfinished business in the region to take care of. So I don't think that's anything, no one expects E-Town to be 7-18, but when you graduate as much as you graduated, then you lose Jackson Webb for the season, and now you just lost Cade Bailey for the rest of the season with his shoulder problem. You're playing a bunch of kids. You're playing young kids, and they're getting better. I saw them early in the season. I saw them last week. You can tell they're getting better. They're still young. That's just right, wrong, or different. That's just who they are. They're a young ball club. And, softball-wise, Central is Central. I mean, I did a feature on them on Sunday. They've hit 50 home runs. 50. 5-0. Nobody saw 50 coming out of that team. They're batting .393 as a team, which is, they're leading the state in home runs with 50. Peyton Bezier leading the state in home runs with 14. I think they're leading the state in hits. Central's going to be good. You just don't know, right? They're always good pitching and defense, but I think this explosion offensively is a little bit out of the ordinary, so to speak. So that's kind of surprising. Not that they've hit them, but you never expect a team to go yard 50 times. I mean, that's just a lot, right? That's just a lot. And then you've got E-Town North softball playing tomorrow night in the last district game, and the winner gets to be the home team in the semifinals. That's what they're playing for. And they're going to meet each other again in the semifinals, but the game Tuesday at E-Town is for the right to be the home team in the district tournament. And that's kind of sort of what you expect a little bit. Haley Wolfskill out of John Hardin is one of the top pitchers in the state with strikeout-wise. So there's been some different things that you've seen. There's been some really good performances, and now starting Monday, everyone's 0-0, and we'll see what happens.
I want to talk about something you just mentioned a moment ago about Elizabethtown struggling this season. They went through a coaching change. You were kind of in the middle of that. I think you even wrote a story on that whole transition. From your view, why didn't it work out?
I have no idea. I don't know. I really, really don't know the answer to that. And sometimes stuff just I don't know. I hadn't talked to Coach Delabar, and it just, for whatever reason, it didn't work. And so they, the transition was made on both ends, and Coach Pitts has stepped in and, picked up his 300th win of his career. But I know he's stepping down at the end of the year, and they're going to go through they're going to go through the process again. But look, kids are pretty resilient. Right? They're way more resilient than us adults. That's for darn sure. And I've talked to Spencer Brandenburg a couple times, and, he just goes, we're getting better. We're slowly but surely getting better. But they still had that one inning. Well, the other night they lost 8-0 to Scott County. It was 2-0 going in the sixth. And they gave up 6 in the sixth. So Coach even Pitts said, we just have that one inning. We just have to eliminate. And you're playing a rival in the district semis in Central Hardin. You already know you're playing them. So, you can set up your pitching rotation of who you want to throw and then try to scrap your way through it and see what happens. But they're returning a ton of kids. I mean, there's just a lot of kids that are coming back next year. So not that any of the coaching staff is looking forward toward next year, because it's still about this year, and they feel, considering everything that's happened and all they feel pretty good before they sit right now. So that's going to be a good semifinal game.
Mike Matheson with the News Enterprise joining us here on Heartland Sports Live. Season's winding down. We'll get to district play next week. Obviously, you look at a team like North on the boys' side. Central, I think Central could say something about it as well. Central on the softball side. Do you think we'll see any surprises maybe in the tournaments?
If you go off past history, just by this season, you probably would say no. But that's why you play the game. It's the E-Town North softball game is really big because the winner is guaranteed a spot in the region, right? So, and E-Town went last year, won a game last year in the region for the first time, I think since 2012. That's what North wants to get to. New coach and Jessica Gunby, that's where they want. They have their eyes set on 2 games. E-Town tomorrow, beat them, then they're the home team in the district semifinal, which means you got last chance to win. Which means if it's 0-0, you have the last chance to win it. So both teams are looking for this is their season. They have their season. It boils down to 2 games. Tomorrow, just for the right to be the home team next week, and then next week for the right to be in the 5th region tournament.
If I were to ask you who may have had a disappointing season, maybe they were projected to be a little bit better going into this 2019 season, who would you say was maybe...
Well, I know every team's gone through their turbulence, and every team's gone through their stuff. There was some high expectations for E-Town softball, and right now, look, here's the thing about expectations. No one puts any more expectations on the team than the team themselves, right? So if you can just cancel out all the noise, like literally cancel it all out and just play your game, then you have to like where you sit. I know Coach Gunby at North, she's trying to shake like here we go again. If you if you boot a few, sports is contagious, right? If everyone in the lineup hits, then you feel like you can get a hit. If everyone in the field is starting to kick it around, then you don't want the next ball to go to you because you might kick it around. And that's just the way sports is. So I think for North softball, Coach Gunby is trying to get them out of like, okay, if you make a mistake, then the next thing all you care about is like let the ball come to me and get it out, right? So that's what they're looking at. I think if you just look at records, E-Town baseball, just because they're 7-18, was the last time E-Town baseball was 7-18. But there's a ton of extenuating circumstances to that. There's just a ton. If you look at Central being good, they have a ton of seniors, so you expected them to be good. You expected North to be good. I'm not sure if North expected to have their best start in 15 years, because I don't think as a coach you ever expect that.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not what you expect. You expect to go out and the old cliche, pitch by pitch, out by out, inning by inning, and see what happens. But once you start gaining success, then that feeds your success offensively, defensively, in the dugout, outside of the dugout, in the classroom, all that fun, all that stuff. And I think that's what a couple teams have done. Central's played a brutal schedule. Softball and baseball have just played hard schedules, right, to get themselves ready for the. North has played a good schedule. LaRue's played a good schedule. E-Town's played. They've all played really good schedules to get them to this part. So. And the good thing for coaches is like, okay, last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, it don't matter anymore, right? As hard as you've worked and as many heartaches as you've gone through, as much adversity you've had to climb over, as much fun as you had, all of it doesn't matter anymore. Because starting Monday is when it counts. And the big game for every team is a semifinal game. You win the semifinal game, not only do you get to the district championship game, you're guaranteed a berth in the region, and then anything can happen, right? Anything can happen in the region tournament. So, so every team's looking at like next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, I think it's scheduled to be the semifinals in baseball and softball. That's what the day they're looking for. That's the day. That's the thing. If they pick up a win next Tuesday, they play in the district championship game, which gives them a berth in the region. If you get a berth in the region, you have a chance to make it to UK.
Would you say that baseball and softball maybe have the biggest question marks on who comes out the champion in the region compared to any other sport? Football, basketball, if you're talking about you see football matchups, you kind of have an idea who's going to win that. Baseball, it seems like if the team's hot, they're hot. If they're not, they may end up losing by a run or two when they were projected to maybe win.
Correct. If you look at 2 weeks ago, Bryson Arnett from LaRue County threw a no-hitter against North Hardin and lost. 1-0. Right? So if you're going up against a pitcher who just finds his groove or her groove that day and is close to untouchable, what are you going to do? Nolan Ryan had 7 no-hitters for a reason. He also got laced around a couple times. So to me, you're right. Anything in baseball, so if you like hockey, if you go against the hot goalie who's 50 for 50 in shot saves, like if you go up against that one pitcher who just they're feeling it. They're just feeling really good about themselves, and they throw a gem by.
Yeah.
And so. And if that happens, you as a team have to figure out, okay, we got to figure out a way to scratch out a run. Somehow, some way, someone's got to get on base. We got to advance him or her over, and we got to get a run in. We have to get a run in. So you're right. I think the baseball and softball have a chance because if you face a pitcher that is close to untouchable, and we've all seen it, right? We may not have seen it, but we've all seen pitchers go, yeah, I'm kind of there right now, and good luck hitting this. Here comes a fastball. I dare you to hit it. I just dare you. And I think there's some teams that have that capability of, here, let's go, dare you to hit it. And let's face it, if you're the team, regardless of the sport, if you're the team that's expected to win, right, and all of a sudden it comes down to crunch time, the game gets a little different. I don't care the level. I don't care if it's high school, college, professionals. The game gets different when all of a sudden you're the team that's expected to win, and now you got to struggle to do what you got to do to win the game. It changes a little bit. So that's the great part about sports.
Yeah, I only bring up that argument because in baseball, the pitcher is pretty much dictating whether or not you're going to win for the most part. Whereas basketball, if you have somebody who's cold, maybe somebody else on the team can pick up the slack and start hitting some shots. Football, it falls on the quarterback, but at the same time, you have a running back you can hand the ball off to, or you can come up with a scheme in the passing game to get your wide receivers, quickly involved to where you kind of take some of that pressure off of your quarterback. The pitcher, they're on that mound by themselves.
Right. No, I completely agree with you. And we've seen gems. I mean, we've all it happens. It just happens. And all of a sudden you get a couple calls that go your way, like on the painted edge of the black, all of a sudden it's just a different. So yeah, I understand your point, and I could see. I mean, look what the Raptors did yesterday against the 76ers. Kawhi Leonard took 39 shots because they knew who needed to have the ball in their hands. It was
and his final shot bounced 39 times.
Exactly,
on the rim.
but they all knew who was taking the shot, right? And they all knew who it was. So regarding the 5th region semifinal, someone's going to say, "Coach, give me the ball," and that's who it is. Now, baseball obviously a little bit different because I can tell you at least who 3 of the 4 pitchers are in the softball tournament, right? I can tell you that. Baseball's a little bit different. I mean, have you had your rest? And the good thing about baseball is you're given the opportunity. Now you can set up your lineup. I mean, you can set up your rotation for what you need. So who do you want to throw in the semifinal game? And if you win the semifinal game, who do you want to throw in the championship game? And then you start all over again the following week when it comes to region time. But yeah, baseball is like, okay, who gets the ball? I can guess who's going to get the ball, but who knows?
Mike Matheson of the News Enterprise joining us on Heartland Sports Live. Who goes the furthest? How do you think the 17th district does, first of all, in the region tournaments, and can they get out of there and make a deep run in the postseason?
I think whoever gets out of the 5th region can make a deep run, but you've got to go up to Louisville to go through the semi-state. So when the 5th region plays the 6th region, and I haven't even looked that far ahead to who that would be baseball or softball-wise, just because I've got too many things to do right in front of me without conjecturing. But I will say I think the 5th region in baseball is a little bit deeper than the 5th region in softball. In the baseball, you got Campbellsville, Bardstown. I mean, you got some really good ball clubs that can. I think Bardstown beat North early this year 3-0. LaRue lost to North 1-0 on a no-hitter. How many times that happened? Central scored 17 runs yesterday Saturday on Cal. Hit 4 out or something. I mean, hit a couple out. And, so it's just, I think anybody who comes out of the 5th region can go into the semi-state up at the University of Louisville against whoever that team is and feel really good about their chances. I feel the same way about whoever the softball team is also. I think they can feel really good coming out of the region as a region champion, going in the semi-state against a 6th region champion, and feel really good about their opportunities to win that game and go to the state tournament on either side. Because all those teams have really good pitching, they have really good hitting. It's just who gets the timely hits when needed, who can make a 2-out rally, who can make the play on defense that needs to be made, right? I mean, can it's right first and second 2 outs, you got a screamer hit to you. Can you make the play? And if you can't make the play, can you at least stop the ball so at least now it's bases loaded? You know what I mean? And so who's going to be able to do that? It's like the basketball. Who's going to hit the shot? Who's going to take the shot? Who's going to hit the shot? In baseball, it's who's going to make the play. And it could come from anywhere.
Yeah.
It could come from a first baseman scooping one out of the dirt, right? Catcher blocking a 47-foot curveball to keep the runner at third. I mean, it could be anybody, anywhere, anyhow to do that. So that's what's so fun about playoffs.
Mike Matheson on Heartland Sports Live. Before I let you go, any other breaking stories, I guess, in the sports world here in this area that might need to be recognized? Because I know you're a busy man. You're covering all sorts of things right now.
I don't know, dude. I know that, region tournament starts Thursday. Region track starts next week. It'll be at E-Town. Region Class AA Tuesday night. So that's where I'll be. Baseball during the day at E-Town possibly, and track at night at E-Town, and winner goes to state. I'm a track kid, so I love track. Just big track fan. We're in the process of adding up numbers for our all-area team right now, so I'm doing math.
Who are some names to look out for in track this year?
Oh, you got Liam Dale at Central Hardin, boys runner. Central Hardin's 4x8 team is good, 4x4. Sarah Bean, she's a stud for Central Hardin. For Elizabethtown. Amir Evans runs the 4 and the 8 for Elizabethtown. The 4x8 teamers have won back-to-back state champions, are back-to-back state champions in Class AA. Sarah won the 3200 last year in Class AA. So there'll be plenty of really, really, really good performances next Tuesday night for the right to go to. And it's really, in Kentucky's a little bit different from top 2 in each region automatically qualify for state. Then everyone else has to wait until all the regions are done. Then you take the top best times, and that's who gets in. So you need to finish in the top 2. You're guaranteed a trip to UK first weekend in June. So, but yeah, Sarah, it's 4x4 teams. Look, the best race in track by far, to me, not close, 4x4. It's the last race of the night. You see people track people down from 20, 30, 40 meters away, coming down the back, coming down the home stretch. Excuse me. So I love track. Love track and looking forward to it.
Check out his stories, News Enterprise Sports. Mike Matheson joining us here on Heartland Sports Live. Give him a follow on Twitter at Matheson Mike as well. Mike, I appreciate your time.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, Trevor. Appreciate it.
Thank you to Mike for stopping in the studio this hour. When we come back, we're going to put a wrap on today's show. Keep listening. It's Heartland Sports Live on 106.1 ESPN Radio. Welcome back to Heartland Sports Live on 106.1 ESPN Radio, 1400 AM, and we live stream every show on ESPN Radio 1061.com. Trevor Rice in, and you, as always, can go to my Twitter account at Radio Trevor Rice. Give me a follow on there, Trevor Rice on Dash Air. You can like me on Facebook as well. But my Twitter account at Radio Trevor Rice, you'll have a link there to iTunes. If you're listening for something on the go that'll keep you entertained on your, let's say you're driving off somewhere, maybe going on a short little vacation this spring or summer, and you want to tune into the show and see who I had on for guests, you can always do so. The iTunes link on my Twitter account at Radio Trevor Rice. It's that simple. I don't make anything too difficult for you guys to understand as what we do on this program. Keep listening because, of course, we're going to have some Cincinnati Reds tickets once again for you guys to have a shot at winning. And the Reds, they have once again dropped below 500 by 5 games. They've been below 500 this entire stretch, but back down to 5 games. They had it to within 4, losing to the Giants yesterday as they couldn't complete the sweep. They just couldn't. But if there's one thing, they've won 3 out of the last 4. That's a good thing. But we look ahead to the schedule this week for the Reds. They have a day off today, and then tomorrow they'll get back into National League Central plays. They host the Chicago Cubs at 6:40 tomorrow evening, 6:40 on Wednesday as well, and 6:40 on Thursday. Then they will host a team from out west, the LA Dodgers, this weekend. Friday is 7:10 when that game gets going. Saturday will be a 4:10 afternoon matchup against the Dodgers, and then they will conclude that 3-game series with the Dodgers on Sunday at 1:10 before going back on the road next Tuesday, taking on the Milwaukee Brewers, and they'll be in Chicago for 3 games as well before coming back the following weekend against National League Central rivals, the Pittsburgh Pirates, that next Monday. So that's what's coming up here for the Redlegs as far as the baseball season. And you can catch every single game, of course, on 106.1 ESPN Radio and 1400 AM. And like I said, they dropped back 5 games below 500. And you just have to wonder the way the Reds have really been working lately. The starting pitching has been well. You heard Joe Zerhusen, who was on the program earlier, talk about Luis Castillo, who just pitched a just fantastic game on Friday against the Giants as the Reds won 7-0. I saw last Monday, if we're talking pitching, a phenomenal performance at home when the Reds won 12-4 over the Giants. It seems like all these performances are coming against the Giants. That kind of worries me that we're not talking other teams here. But DeSclafani pitched a fantastic game a week ago, today, in fact, against the Giants. The main question mark has been the bullpen and who's coming in. There were some concerns about Raisel Iglesias because he leads the team. He's supposed to be a closer and coming in and really helping secure victories. But he has 5 losses under his name. You just have to look ahead now. Can the pitching continue, the starting pitching that is, to give the Reds a chance? And can we start to see the ball fly out of the ballpark more frequently here in the coming weeks with these Reds? Because it seems like everything's starting to pick up a little bit. The starting pitching's been well. The batting has improved a little bit too. The hitting coach, he's had some work to do with these guys, and we're starting to see some things not only through the roster. Of course, they dropped Schebler to Louisville, and they picked up. When you pick up fantastic ball players like Derek Dietrich, who's coming here, and he's just electrified this Reds organization. I'm just going to say it that way. He's just electrified them. And Nick Senzel, who is obviously the Reds' best prospect coming in here into the majors, he has been phenomenal since being implemented into the rotation as well. He had 2 home runs last Monday, had another one against the Giants, and you would like to see him progress a little bit further, and you just kind of wonder how he's going to handle the situation when more and more pitchers start to see him, how he's going to have to adjust himself. But that's the beautiful thing about it, is these pitchers really don't know him. He doesn't know the pitchers, so he really doesn't know any better to begin with. So he's just going to go up there and he'll just try to swing for the fences. And that's a beautiful thing if you're a Reds fan right now, because that can just that kind of, I'm not going to call it carelessness, but just not being as aware as maybe a veteran coming in there, like a Joey Votto. I think that benefits you to the fact that maybe the Reds can get a run going here as we get closer and closer to summer. And maybe by the All-Star break, you have a situation where the Reds are knocking on maybe second or third place in the NL Central. I think they're only like 6 games back in the NL Central, if I remember right. So, I mean, they're not far. They play the Cubs this week. They could make some head gain there tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. In fact, their next, outside of that Dodgers series, 3 of their next 4 series are against National League Central opponents. So we're going to find out what this team's about. And, of course, you can make the argument the National League Central is the hardest division in baseball, with the Cardinals, the Cubs, the Brewers. The Pirates have had some glimpses of hope this season so far. Of course, the Pirates have just laid it to the Reds in the early portion of the season when those 2 ball clubs met. But you would like to see if the Reds can start to get this thing really rolling with some of this young blood into the rotation. And what happens when Scooter Gennett comes back? He's going to be an electrifier for this team. Not that they necessarily need him to come in, because I think Senzel's done that just well. But Scooter Gennett, he's going to be one of those guys that I have a feeling once he gets back into the rotation, he's going to be good as well. He's one of those guys who will try to put it into the stands every single at-bat. No hesitation. And he did a year ago when he was healthy, when he was into the rotation. That 3-4-5 a year ago with Suarez, Gennett, and Votto was a thing of beauty. They worked off of each other every single game that they were in the rotation together. I would like to see if they can get back to that with this year's ball club, with Yasiel Puig, who's starting to pick things up offensively. He's had a couple of home runs recently. As you know, he has some power behind his at-bats. I don't know. We're going to see how that goes. Eugenio Suarez has been one of those team players as far as smacking some home runs. Here he had like a 3 or 4 game stretch where he had a home run here recently. In fact, I just had another one over the weekend. So you would like to see these guys continue to improve on this offensively and match what the starting pitching has done. Because if they can get in sync, this team could put it together a magical run here in the closing stages of spring into the summer months. Wouldn't that be a thing of beauty where you're talking about the Reds possibly in a wild card spot before it's all said and done? Whereas I don't know how many people were necessarily giving them a chance recently with the way that they struggled in the pitching. Heck, they won the season opener. They won opening day, and then how many did they lose straight? It was like 7 straight, wasn't it? So they dug themselves in a hole way early in this one, and now they're slowly starting to come back, and they've been hovering right around that 4, 5, maybe 6 games under 500. They're at 5 right now. They're at 18-23. So if they can continue to make some more gains here over the next couple of weeks and get some wins here and start winning these series against National League Central opponents, I think this team could be looking good heading into the summer months. But maybe I'm just being way too optimistic. Trevor Rice with you on 106.1 ESPN Radio, 1400 AM. And as we always stream every show, ESPNRadio1061.com. I will be back next Monday, 5 until 6, as we always do this thing. Go to my Twitter account, at Radio Trevor Rice, and you can always find the latest show uploaded onto iTunes. The link that I have on my at Radio Trevor Rice Twitter account. You'll see a link there. That'll do it for me. I'll be back next Monday. Have a fantastic sports week. Man, the NBA playoffs have been good, haven't they? We'll see how those go this week as well. Have a fantastic evening, everybody.